What's up, you guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 4 different things that you can do to get the most out of those modified pentatonics. Now, if you've never heard about modified pentatonics, all they are is just taking your normal pentatonics that you already know, your minor pentatonic scale or your major pentatonic scale, and exchanging or moving around some of the notes. So you can take a scale like the minor pentatonic scale, which has an intervallic construction of 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and flat 7, and maybe switch out the flat 7 for a natural 7. That way you get 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and 7. It'll give you a minor major kind of sound, and I like to call that scale a minor major 7 pentatonic scale. So A minor major 7 sounds like this. Now, the first tip I'm going to give you guys is to actually pick a scale that works well in both relatives. Now, what I mean by that is most of you guys probably already know that you get that the minor scale and the major scale are both relatives, right? So, for example, if you have A minor, that would be the minor relative of C major, the C major scale. So the same thing can be applied here. You can take a minor major 7 pentatonic scale, which would have A, C. Let's do it from A minor. We would have A, C, D, E, G sharp because it's a major 7, and then A. Now those notes are functioning as 1, flat 3, 4, 5, natural 7th, and again the octave just 1. But if we begin that scale from the C note, we'd get 1, 2, 3, sharp 5, and 6. Now that scale I like to call the major sharp 5 pentatonic scale. The only difference from the normal major pentatonic scale is that 5th. You're augmenting that 5th, so you get a sharp 5. Now C major sharp 5 pentatonic sounds like this. Now that way you're learning one scale, but you're applying it over 2 different chords. You can play it over A minor major 7, or you can play it over C major 7 sharp 5. Now the next tip to get the most out of those modified pentatonic scales is to grab a scale that works well as different scales, just different scales. So for example, again, going back, I'm going to stick to the minor major 7 pentatonic scale. Now looking at that scale, you can get, like I mentioned before, it's very important that you learn this. It's 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and natural 7th. So you want to look at what scales actually have that. That way you can switch between whatever the scale you're playing and the pentatonic scale. In this case, you can get that scale within the A harmonic minor scale, which has 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, and natural 7. Sounds like this. You can grab the pick. You could also play it within the melodic minor scale, which is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, natural 6, natural 7th, and 8. Now, if you notice, the construction, the intervallic construction of both those scales does in fact have the 1, the flat 3, the 4, the 5, and the natural 7th within them. So wherever you could play a harmonic minor scale or a melodic minor scale, you can insert that minor major pentatonic. Same thing is going to apply for the major sharp 5 pentatonic. In that case, you have, like I said before, a construction of 1, 2, 3, sharp 5, and 6. So you look for any scale that has those notes within it. Now, the first ones I can think of are Ionian sharp 5, which is the 3rd mode of the harmonic minor scale, or Lydian augmented, which is the 3rd mode of the melodic minor scale. The third tip to get the most out of these different pentatonic scales is to actually figure out the different modes within it. Now, when I mention the modes, what I'm saying is you should analyze how each of these notes within the scale work if you treat them as the root. So we already talked about the A note. We already talked about the C note. We still have D, E, and G sharp. So if we begin from D, and we analyze the notes within it, we would get D, which is 1, we get 2, you get a sharp 4, we get a 5, and we get a flat 7. Now the D kind of 7 sus sharp 4 pentatonic sounds like this. Now the cool thing about that is you get more chords where you can apply the same scale. It's just starting from a different place, just like the modes. So you could, in fact, play this scale from a D7 chord or a D7 sharp 11 chord. Now the other cool thing is you don't really have any type of third within the scale, so it could actually function as a minor 7 chord, and you would be playing Dorian sharp 4. So in any case, like I mentioned before, figure out the different scales it works at. In this case, you could work out Lydian dominant, which is the 4th mode of the melodic minor scale, and you can work out Dorian sharp 4, which is the 4th mode of harmonic minor. Now the next scale we can figure out begins from E. So let's analyze it. We have 1, we have a major 3rd, we have a 4th, okay? We have the flat 6, and we have the flat 7. So it's almost like a flat 6 dominant type of deal with this scale. So you could play it like I just mentioned over a dominant chord, and it could probably function as Mixolydian flat 6, which is the 5th mode of melodic minor, or it could function as Phrygian dominant or Mixolydian flat 9, flat 13, which is the 5th mode of harmonic minor. Now the E kind of 7 flat 13 pentatonic with that added 4th or 11th sounds like this. Now the last mode we can figure out begins from G sharp. You could analyze it from here. You can look at it from here. It's the same thing. It's just the same notes. So we would have the root. We have the flat 2, a major 3rd, a flat 5, and a flat 6. Now that flat 6 could also be looked at as a sharp 5. Now in any case, I would recommend using the scale primarily over a sort of altered chord, even if we don't have that flat 7. Now that G sharp kind of altered sounding pentatonic sounds like this. Now the fourth and final tip I'm going to give you guys is to actually find out different uses for these different scales. Now the first use you could think of is probably the most diatonic approach, and that's just figuring out, like we did before, figuring out the different notes within those pentatonics and figuring out exactly where they fit. So for that minor major 7 pentatonic, you probably want to play it over a minor major 7 chord. Now for that C major sharp 5 pentatonic, you probably want to play it over a major 7 sharp 5 chord. The D you're going to probably want to play over a dominant 7 sharp 11 chord, or even a minor 7 flat 5 chord if you're thinking about it more as Dorian sharp 4. The E you're probably going to want to play it over some sort of dominant 7 flat 13 chord, and that last chord, that G sharp, probably going to want to play it over a G sharp type of altered chord. And the final application is to use it as an outside sounding kind of tool. So again, let's go back to the original guy, which is A minor major pentatonic. You could probably apply that over any situation that you would apply a melodic minor or harmonic minor to try to get more of an outside sound. So let's say you have some sort of minor vamp, or you're just playing over A minor, and you could kind of get that minor major 7 pentatonic in there. Just be careful not to stay on that 7th too long. You want to resolve it up to the tonic, or you want to go back into some pentatonics or maybe some type of minor mode that you could be playing normally over that minor vamp. Another way to apply this scale, or any of these modified pentatonics, remember you can create your own modified pentatonics, is to use it as a tension building concept. Now, I've explained this in some of my other videos, but this is essentially just taking a cool move that you might like, that might appear within the scale, and moving it up or down chromatically, or moving it up in different ways. You could move it maybe in minor thirds or major thirds. You can get some very interesting type of moves, some very interesting type of textures. And that's a pretty cool approach that you can use. But make sure to always resolve an chord tone or a good extension of whichever chord that you're playing. If not, it's just going to sound like you don't know what you're doing. Now, if you want to figure out more about these different pentatonics and you want to find out how they relate to other full 7-note scales like melodic minor or any other different modes, you can check out my book, The Art of Scale Weaving, which I have on Amazon. Another really good book about pentatonics is by Jerry Bergonzi, and I believe the name of the book is called Pentatonics. Now, the book cover should actually be appearing here, and I'll leave you guys a link down in the description box so you can check it out. Alright, so if you enjoyed the video, remember to share it with everybody that you might think that might like this video. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I'll be providing you guys with weekly videos with more and more lessons and more information about all these types of topics. Hit the like button and comment below if you have any types of questions or suggestions for future videos. And if you're interested in lessons, you can go to my website, juanantoniomusic.com, and you'll find all sorts of different packages that you can acquire, and we can just get to work. Alright, thanks for watching.